We're going to be going into your Exponent Basics. A lot of this you should remember from 7th grade. So before we start, I want you to journal this question. Before 8th grade, you learned a little bit about exponents. What do you remember? Make sure you write down the question and then answer it. Go ahead and hit pause and do that now. This number is an exponential form. 2 is your base and 7 is your exponent. So I want you to write these in exponential form in your journal. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And -6 times -6 times -6. So go ahead and try to write these in exponential form with the base and an exponent. Hit pause and do that now. The very first thing you need to do is identify how many times 4 is a factor. 4 is a factor here 4 times. So we're going to be writing it as 4 to the 4th power. -6 is a factor 3 times. So we're going to write that one -6 to the 3rd power. You would read this as -6 to the 3rd power or -6 cubed. I want you to try to write this in exponential form. I have 2 different bases, so I just want you to give it an effort. So hit pause and try it. You need to identify how many times 5 and D are used as a factor. 5 is used as a factor twice, and D is used as a factor 4 times. So we would write this as 5 to the 2nd power times D to the 4th power. Try this one. Write it in exponential form. X times X times X times X times X. Go ahead and hit pause and try it now. Identify how many times X is used as a factor. On this one, X is used as a factor 5 times. So we're going to write it as X to the 5th power. Try B. D times D times D. Go ahead and hit pause and write this one in exponential form. Identify how many times D is a factor. On this one, D is a factor 3 times. So we're going to be writing it as D to the 3rd power or D cubed. Write this one in exponential form. 7 times 7 times B times B. Don't forget, there's 2 different bases. So go ahead and hit pause and try it now. First, identify how many times 7 and B are used as a factor. 7 is used as a factor twice. B is also used as a factor twice. So we're going to write it as 7 squared times B squared. You can also say it as 7 to the 2nd power times B to the 2nd power. We're going to evaluate, so we're going to be going the other direction. You're going to be given a number in exponential form, and you're going to need to solve it, or otherwise known as evaluate it. The first thing you need to do is break it apart. So, you're going to find the product of 5 3's. Break it apart, and it's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And the reason why you do it that way is because you're going to be going 2 at a time. So first you're going to multiply these 3's. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then you'll multiply, and then bring down the other 3. Multiply 9 times 9 is 81. And 81 times 3 is 243. You just have to remember to go 2 at a time. Try B, -3 to the 5th power. Do not forget to break it apart. Go ahead and hit pause and try it now. So first you're going to find the product of 5 -3's. If you break it apart, you're going to need to go 2 at a time. -3 times -3 is +9. -3 times -3 here is +9. Bring down your other -3. 9 times 9 is 81. And 81 times -3 is -243. So here's a good hint. Always use your parentheses to raise a negative number to a power. Meaning, these parentheses have locked that negative into the 3. So whenever we break it apart, all of our 3's are going to have a negative in front of it. Evaluate this one. -4 to the 4th power. So find the product of 4 -4's. -4 times -4 times -4 times -4. -4 times -4 is +16. -4 times -4 is +16. And 16 times 16 is 256, which you probably should remember from your perfect squares. D is 2 to the 8th power. Go ahead and evaluate that one. Find the product of 8 2's. 2 times 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 2. You have to remember to go 2 at a time because otherwise you're adding. If I did 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, I'd be adding the 2's. So if you go 2 at a time, you're going to remember to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 16 you should remember is 256 since that's one of our perfect squares. Now evaluate 7 to the 4th power. Find the product of 4 7s. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 7 is 49. And 49 times 49 is 2,401. Evaluate negative 9 to the 3rd power. Go ahead and hit pause. Find the product of 3 negative 9s. So you're going to break it apart as negative 9 times negative 9 times negative 9. Go 2 at a time. Negative 9 times negative 9 is positive 81. Positive 81 times negative 9 is negative 729. Evaluate negative 5 to the 2nd power. This time the negative is outside of the parentheses, so be careful with this one. Find the product of 2 5s, and then the answer is negative. 5 times 5 is 25, and so the answer is negative because that negative was sitting outside of the parentheses. This one's a little bit more difficult. You're just substituting and then you're following order of operations. So let's take this one a little bit slow. First I have my expression. X times y to the x power minus z to the y power plus x to the y power. And you might be thinking this is incredibly confusing, but if you look over to the right, it gives you all of the numbers for those variables. X equals 4, y equals 2, z equals 3. So you're going to need to substitute first. Anywhere you see an x, you put a 4. Anywhere you see a y, you put a 2. Anywhere you see a z, you put a 3. So now that we've put in all the numbers, hopefully it seems a little less confusing. Now you're going to follow order of operations. In order of operations, the first thing we do is parentheses. Inside of these parentheses, I have more than one operation. So I'm basically doing PEMDAS inside of PEMDAS. So just look inside the parentheses. What do I do first? Well, I need to do the exponents first. So I'm also going to do this exponent out here because I know once I leave the parentheses, I'm going to have to do the exponents. 2 to the 4th is 16. 3 to the 2nd is 9. 4 to the 2nd is 16. Now let's finish out the parentheses. 16 minus 9 is 7. Now we can do our multiplication, left to right. 4 to 7 is 28. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 16 is going to give us our final answer of 44. So now I want you to try this one on your own. Substitute first, and then go through PEMDAS and solve. So hit pause and just try it. Okay, so let's substitute. 5 goes in for all the x's, 2 goes in for all the y's, 60 goes in for all the z's. So it's now 60 minus 7 times 2 to the 5th power minus 5 to the 2nd power. So first we're going to evaluate the exponents. 2 to the 5th would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. I hope you didn't put 10, because if so, you added all those 2's. You got to go 2 at a time. So I have 32 minus 25 in my parentheses, so I'm going to subtract that first. I get 7. Then I'm going to multiply. I get 49, and 60 minus 49 gave me 11. So I hope you got that right. Now, here's your quiz. I need you to hit pause. I need you to go through this entire quiz in your journal, and because we're going to be going over some of this tomorrow. So go ahead and hit pause, do your lesson quiz. So now that you've completed your lesson quiz, I'm hoping that you did a great job. On the first one, you should have got into the 4th power, because whenever you count the factors, there are 4 of them. On negative 8, there are 3 of them, and h is a different base. So I write it as negative 8 to the 3rd power times h. Evaluating negative 4 to the 4th, it was negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Your negative is inside the parentheses, so it's like it's trapped. You should have gotten 256. And on the last one, the substitution, this is really what you need to be able to do. You just substitute in your numbers and then go through PEMDAS. And you should have gotten negative 213. So for your last part, this is the last piece, I just need you to answer this question. A population of bacteria doubles in size every minute. The number of bacteria after 5 minutes is 15 times 2 to the 5th. How many are there after 5 minutes? So hit pause and try this. Once you've broken apart your exponent, you can multiply them all together and then multiply that by 15, and you should have gotten 480. So hopefully you're kind of getting a better grip on the basics of exponents. Make sure you bring your spiral back into class with you because you're going to need it.